Welcome to our 25th series, everyone. We are 1/4 of the way to 100 series, which is just absolutely wild to think about. And we are very excited to welcome a couple of good friends of the show, David Gunsberg and Morgan Jenkins, to talk about a really sweet RPG called Golden Sky Stories. But before we get into all of that, first we have some announcements. If, for some reason, you missed us talking about Descent into Midnight, it has less than 7 days to go as of the release of this episode. Absolutely check this thing out if you haven't already. It is a game that has altered our perception of what games can be, and it deserves every amount of success it can get. They are currently about halfway to their next stretch goal, where One Shot Network alum Ali Grauer will write a piece of fiction that takes place in a world of Descent into Midnight. It will also unlock another episode of the Streampunks, which would make the campaign that much longer and that much more enjoyable. So go ahead, pause the show right now and check it out if you haven't yet. It's that good. Don't worry, I'll wait. And welcome back. So, other projects out there that we think could use your attention that we've mentioned a few times before would be Princess World by Kevin Petker, where you play as princesses using a pretty unique take on PBTA mechanics. We also had a Spotlight episode. If you missed that, check it out. It's a really good look at what the system can do. Also, using a completely different, unique take on PBTA mechanics would be Pasión de las Pasiones by Brandon Leon Gambetta. This is a telenovela game where over the top is the baseline, and it only goes up from there. I absolutely recommend checking out all of these Kickstarters if you can. Finally, we are sadly out of reviews to read. We would absolutely love to read more reviews from all of you wonderful folks listening. If you like what we do, just head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and or a review. It helps other people find the show and really makes us feel oh so good in the process. So, going with the lessons we are about to learn with this game, spread some kindness and leave a review. And hey, while you're already there, search for any other podcasts you enjoy and toss a review their way, even if it's just a single sentence of why you love their work. Really, you can go back and re-edit those if you want to expand on it later. With all of that out of the way, how about we get on with the show? Enjoy. Welcome to Character Creation Cast, a show where we discuss and create characters, the best part of role-playing games, with guests using their favorite systems. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan, and this episode, my co-host Amelia and I are thrilled to welcome David Gunsberg and Morgan Jenkins to discuss Golden Sky Stories, a heartwarming and non-violent RPG by Ryo Kamiya.
Welcome to Character Creation Cast. We are so excited you could join us.
We're very excited to be here.
So excited to be here. No, I can't even say that word. That's how excited I am.
Let's start by introducing you to our audience. David, do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you have going on?
I am a putative podcaster and game designer and long-running game runner. Been in the kind of doing this since the 80s, currently doing it with my kids, and I'm all about discovering small games that can create real connection. No real projects going on, just trying to make the world a kinder place.
That is a project.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a small undertaking. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. All right. And Morgan, how about yourself?
Oh gosh, where to start? I last time I checked was still locked in a vault with you in Geek Wars. I'm fairly certain that's where I am technically.
I got kicked out at the end.
Oh, you on in the vault, so I'm here by myself.
Yeah, I think Mitch forgot about you and and kicked
sounds
me
about
out.
right.
Yeah.
I'm still in. Yeah, okay. I can live with that.
For those who don't understand that reference, listen to Geek Wars at Geek Wars Pod and Twitter, and you can hear all about our shenanigans in the vault.
And other than that, I have a podcast that I do that's currently on hiatus yet again, as life gets in the way, called Going In Blind. It's an actual play podcast with visually, words are hard, with vision impaired players.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just playing through D&D at the moment, but we have other games that are recorded and ones that aren't, where we just play them, and they will never be on the podcast. But that's coming back at some point.
If games aren't on a podcast, did they really happen?
That's the question, isn't it? I don't think so, but apparently I'm in the minority there, so.
No, every time I sit down to play a game and we're not recording, I feel very weird. I'm like, what do I do then?
I just get my phone out and record it anyway.
Morgan and I tried to play a game just for fun. We were like halfway through it, and I said, "Are you recording?" And she was like,
"Yeah,
of course I'm recording. I'm recording you. I'm recording me. Of course I'm recording."
Obviously.
I can't not be recording. I have to.
Well, let's go ahead and get into this. We are going to start by discussing what this game is all about.
What's in a game?
So, can you tell us a bit about the setting for Golden Sky Stories?
Yeah, well, my pitch for this game when I talk to players at cons is that if we start with this game is a performative meditation on kindness. Think about Totoro, the town and animal spirit kind of vibe you get in Kiki, mashed up together with the joyful, bittersweet happiness of Bing Bong from Inside Out, where it's small stories told in a sort of semi-Japanese feeling place where humans and mildly magical animal spirits live alongside each other and experience sort of slice of life things that are really just about being good to each other.
That's really cool.
What things do we need to play this game?
You don't need very much.
Aside from a sense of compassion.
Yeah, well, that can sometimes be the hardest thing to get, as you may imagine in some cons. You have people going, where's my animal's attack stat? It's like, it doesn't have an attack stat. That's not what this game is about. So it can be very good in that regard, that I like games where the mechanics know what the game is trying to do, and this game does that. So players very quickly go, oh, this is not for me. But what you need to play it is very little. It's diceless, which blew my mind. It was the first diceless game I'd played. You just need a character sheet and some counters, and you don't even really need the counters. You basically need the character sheet, and the way I run it is to also then put like a blank A4 sheet in amongst us all where we write down the NPCs that we've created and the places in the town that we've created that we have connections to. So very little.
Yeah, that's probably the least amount of materials that we've seen for a game yet.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
if you really feel like you're missing out with the dice, instead of counters, you can use dice as counters, but you're not going to be rolling them.
Yeah.
But then what do I do with them?
You
look at them and then go,
pretty.
do I have enough dice? I should probably get at least 50 more of these.
Right. Well, so I do like to look at my dice. That's why I actually have them in glass vases up on top of my bookshelf. So
you're doing dice correctly then. That's good to hear.
They're decorative along with useful.
Yeah.
Are they color coordinated?
No, right now they're just in tall glass. I do have them separated by like my Fantasy Flight dice. So my Genesis, my L5R, my Star Wars dice are
pouring
like over
one
in
out
one
for
jar.
Fantasy Flight, pouring one out for L5R.
They did just announce another source book though, so who knows? And it finally has the Ishiken in it.
Yeah.
So someday we'll cover that game.
And as far as other things you need to play the game, there is a core rulebook you can buy, but there is a free quick start PDF that Starline Publishing have up that you can, I'm sure we'll put a link in the show notes, that you can just go to, click, and you basically just need that.
Oh, so in the same way that Descent into Midnight has a sort of quick start rule on their website ready to go, but you could also maybe back the Kickstarter that's happening right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
just like that.
Tell me more about this amazing Kickstarter that it
We have
happens to be
something
going
for
on
us
right
to
now.
do in our cold open. Now what are we supposed to talk about?
Well, you can still talk about it. We can mention it as many times as we want. It's that good of a game. And you
It
can
is
back
indeed.
it now.
Rich Howard should send us a t-shirt, honestly. Rich, where's my t-shirt?
Rich,
Come on,
I love
Rich.
you. I even introduced you in that other podcast.
Oh,
Incredible.
I love them.
So
I love them
you
so
can,
much.
if you like what you hear, you can just grab that Kickstarter and play a few small games with. It's got like the 4 of the animal spirit types because we'll be playing as animal spirits in the quick start. And then you're good to go. And if you like it, you can get the full rules.
very cool.
I should
I
say
like the
it's
try
not-
it before you buy it kind of
Yes.
role-playing game. I don't know. I think that's nice in RPGs, especially because the books tend to be like heftier. And I mean, it can be an investment to spend $60 on a book that you're not sure if you're going to play or, that's another thing that I think APs do really well is like introducing people to new systems and kind of giving you an idea of like whether this really is for you because not everything's for everyone. But
And that's
I love
okay.
games that have quick start guides.
I think that also tells me that they're confident that in what they've done is they're going, here's the thing, have a look at this thing. And the mechanics are very clear. You can get that quick start. And if you're a like hard combat head, then you're going to look at this very quickly and go, oh, I don't need to spend my money on that.
I think it lowers the barrier of entry too for newer people. Cause those bigger books are really intimidating. Like for a long time, I didn't want to play any other games besides like the 1 or 2 that I knew because it was like, I can't read that whole book. And now I'm like, sure, let's play this game. I'll figure it out while I go. But quick start guides are really nice for that, for figuring it out right away.
I also find it's a really lovely thing when you've got sort of newish players to hand them a single sheet, here's your character sheet. But at cons, I'll print it sort of A4 2-sided with 2 sheets on each side and say, here you go. Here's the entire game. You can take that away with you. If you enjoyed what we did today,
Okay, so
tell your friends.
That means that when I go to the con with you, I'm not going to be receiving the full 146 pages printed out and bound up. Is that what you're saying?
No, you'll get the quick start.
Okay. And I think in the same way that, and I know I jokingly mentioned Descent into Midnight earlier, but in the same way that game is about a group of people coming together to try and fight back against a corruption and bring some kindness in the world, even though a lot of the times people come across it as a one-shot, so they only ever get to see the corruption and not the pushback against that. This game tells much smaller stories in a much more... I don't want to say lower stakes because I'd say much more personal stakes because all of these stories that are happening are big to the people that they're happening to, and they're not stories about can we save the world. They're stories about can we help this person get to a concert, or can we help them ask out someone, or can we help them feel a little bit better about themselves, or come out to their parents or significant other. And it's just these cute little stories about encouraging kindness within yourself and within a community that you help create.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I am really bad at it.
At this game?
Yeah, I'm terrible at this game. I love it so much, but every time it's like, what do you want to do? I want to make everyone feel better. How? I don't know. If I knew the answer to that, we would all feel better. And then it's like, oh no, we broke Morgan again.
So
I would be doing it already if I understood how to do it.
If I knew how happiness works, it would exist.
Would I be on this podcast? Would I be shouting to the world right now if I knew how to be happy?
So we can talk about this later, but I think that there's a lot of that beautiful failing forward, like leaning into the smallness of it, leaning into the awkwardness of it, and remembering when you were 11 and, you know, wanted to buy I've done one where we invented a lantern festival and a child wanted to buy the perfect lantern for their mum who they love a lot. And we helped this child buy a really nice lantern. And that was the whole story. But like, you know, when things go wrong, one of the other things I've said about this game is it's kind of, it's very safe and it's kind of all act one. It's like a romance novel where you know the game is designed so that you know it's going to work out okay. So you can enjoy that kind of small slice of life anime feeling of, you know, the cat catching a fish and taking it into the shop to try and make things better and it make things worse. You can have these small intimate moments of kindness knowing that it's going to work out and just be goofy when you're trying to help people. Like it's
really
not an
like
adverse.
that.
Yeah.
I don't think that there are a lot of games that do that. I think that, like, even when we talk about cute games, you know, like we talked about Mouse Guard and things like that, and but they still have that tension of, like, is it going to be okay? Like, are we going to roll okay and have this story work out? And, you know, like, I don't think I've ever played a game where it was just like, I know that we're going to succeed and it's going to be okay, and I can just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and that's another. I find that's another checkout point for people who've sat down at a con with me. That where I go, we're going to get a resolution. So this is exactly about the journey. If your game joy comes from having fought that triumph out, that's not this game. In this game, we're going to create a small sadness, discomfort, awkwardness that's rich in emotion, and then we're going to ineffectually but wholeheartedly try and help, and it will be good by the end. And one of the things that I find, like, I should say that the bleed in this game is real because to be honest, in this game, kindness works. In this game, you will be kind to each other. The community will be kind back to you. Even like there'll be, you know, you might have the policeman, you know, the cutesy policeman kind of character, or the teacher might get cross at you. But then you kind of, Morgan and I have often looked at each other and gone, okay, now we've got to take some of this out into the real world where the stakes are, you know, high. It is a performative meditation on kindness.
Yeah.
I think role-playing games have a really, and I don't think that they embrace them enough, but a really unique opportunity to teach empathy.
Oh, yeah.
In ways that a lot of other media just can't. Like, you can watch a movie about people being kind, but it's not participatory in the same way. And I think role-playing games give us that room because it's one of the very few places where you take yourself and inhabit a whole other person. And you have to think about, what does this person want and need and care about? And you have to really embrace that and then play that out with other people sitting in front of you and work with those people to do things. And I think, I wish that there were more games that embraced that. It's one thing that I really like about being able to play them with my kids. Cause it's a skill that I value. And I don't think that there's a lot of other ways that to effectively teach that rather than experience it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a good game for that.
Absolutely. So I think we kind of covered, our next two questions already, about stories and themes and what characters do in this game. So let's go ahead and get to, aside from all the wonderful stuff we've already talked about, what's unique about Golden Sky Stories? I mean, it's diceless. There's hardly any materials. It's a game entirely about the journey to kindness, through kindness. Is there anything else that kind of strikes you as unique from either maybe like a technical standpoint or from, some other sort of standpoint?
Yeah. One thing that I really like about it is when we get into character creation and you look at the, in inverted commas, magical abilities, is they're beautifully whimsical and some of them seem really pointless. Like one character has the capacity to make it rain faintly in a scene.
Ooh.
And that's like a very powerful ability for them, is to just let a light misting rain happen in a scene.
Yeah.
Which I think is about, it's very poetic in that regard. If you embrace the poetic nature of it, I found it quite unique. That and when you'll see that when we get into the creation and we start looking at what attributes do you have and what abilities and weaknesses do you want to take.
And also I think the fact that they tie certain abilities to certain weaknesses. So it's if you're taking one of these things, you're taking the other, and that can lead to some really interesting and I mean, I don't necessarily want to say unique because I feel like there might be other ways that these elements come up in other games, but the fact that it's such a direct pair as opposed to you must pick one of these and two of these or one of these and one of these. It's like, no, you get this one, you get this attribute, you get this weakness. That's what's happening. Plus, I would also say in terms of uniqueness, you get to be a spirit that's also an animal that can also turn into a person, and you get to run around being all of these things plus magic, and that feels pretty unique to me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. When you were saying about the shape-shifting animals and stuff, it reminded me of Breebo Sheldon's Turn, which came out recently. Turn is a slice of life game where you play as animals that can change into human and back, and you are trying to exist amongst other humans in secret, and you have to do human stuff and you have to do animal stuff, and you have to kind of balance those two lives together. And it's a very slice of life sort of mystical role-playing game, but it seems like the stakes are a little higher in that one.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like with that one, it's about will you get caught, will you balance it? Whereas with this, it's a lot more about what is this small story, this this minimal sadness that may feel big to the person that's experiencing it, and more importantly, how can you as players help alleviate that? And so it's a lot less about, oh no, will I get caught? And a lot more about, well, we know I'm not going to get caught, or if I do, it'll turn out all right. Let's figure out how to help this, this person in their journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really great. In this game, do the other humans, the NPCs, know about your spiritual?
That's something that the question of whether or not, like, how much do the humans know about the Henge or the animal spirits, which are called Henge, how much they interact, kind of varies from game to game. But what tend to design that at the table, but what is sort of in there is that this is where the Bing Bong thing comes from. Kids can see you, and the elderly can see you.
Okay.
But adults with jobs who are being adulting, they can't see you. They've forgotten about you.
Their minds are more occupied with adulting things.
Yeah, well, it's like any sort of mystical force out there, like fairies or brownies or what have you from other cultures. It's that thing of you'll see the children interacting with the fairy circle or the elderly who haven't lost that sense of wonder. But then you've got people going, I don't believe in fairies, and then you have to clap your hands to save them. And
wait, what?
And it's just about like those who would seem to be in a position to believe about the Henge, who are this mystical, they're creatures. They would be, if you're prone to believe, if you're prone to think magic is real, you're more likely to witness these sorts of things as opposed to just block them out. And so a lot of those adults who are off adulting aren't necessarily, even if they see it, they'll just explain it away and keep going about their day.
It's like children and Santa Claus. Like if you believe it, then like if you have this like innocence of spirit.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So now we get to talk about the history of the game a little bit. Do you want to tell us about the original Japanese version, a little bit about the English version?
So I discovered the English version actually through Party of One Pod and Jumpin' GM Jeff Stormer, big shout out there. He's been he is the gateway drug to so many systems.
Yeah.
Who wrote one of my favorite role-playing games that has destroyed me utterly.
Oh.
What game?
I I don't know what its name is, but it's the one where you create a village and you have to defeat a dragon. It's about 200 words long, and it left me in tears.
That's not the Olive Garden LARP then, right?
No, it's not the official LARP of Olive Garden.
Which is a fantastic.
Which they did not mention at all in the Sonic movie, even though there were several references to Olive Garden. And every time it came up, I was like, is this about the LARP? No one knew what I was saying.
Oh.
They owe Jeff some money.
It came out in Japan in 2006 and was translated into English in 2013 by, I hope I get his name right, or their name right, Ewan or Awen Clooney. If I get that wrong, I'll go back. There was a pronunciation guide on their Twitter I meant to check beforehand. Dang it. And I've come across it through the English translation. It was kickstarted, glorious full color, full rule book that I won't bother holding up, and that's its history. There's a whole bunch of these sort of slice of life RPGs, small JRPGs. I'm not a big JRPG head, so I don't know where it sits in the kind of larger ecosystem of them, but that's how it came into my life.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool, though.
So, can I be honest? I'm now hearing game pitches. This is off mic in inverted commas, but so one of the things I would pitch is this is the kind of thing that for the right table you'd go, we're going to create an adult whose family the four of us used to look over. And this adult is grappling with mental health and has just come back from the big city with their new prescription. And our game might just be making sure they take their meds today. That could be the whole game. And just being with them through the day and making small, kind things happen to that person as they move through the day. And the end of the game could be them, making sure they were hydrated and they took their pills, and close out with the final shot of one of us sitting on the windowsill as our human who won't see us again until they're old enough to remember us, has got through their day. And that could be the whole game.
That sounds so relaxing.
Yeah. Oh, it really is. And that's
I feel like that sounds emotionally fraught to me. That sounds
that's why I was saying the bleed can be real.
Yeah.
You have to, if you are running this game, you have to be because it looks cutesy, you kind of go, oh, we can do these things.
It sneaks up on you.
Yeah. If you're not careful, the anxiety can be real. Mm-hmm. If I remember there was the game that we mentioned earlier about the lanterns, and I remember thinking, I don't know how to help this child pick the correct lantern, nor do I know what the correct lantern would be. And I was getting quite emotionally invested in making
What is the objective measure for correct lantern?
Well,
where's the rubric for that?
So apparently his mother had opinions on lanterns and he had differing opinions, and we had to make sure that his opinions lined up with hers. And I got lost I was trying to create a parable, and I got lost in talking to him. And at that point, that's where thankfully the DM stepped in, or narrator, I guess, in this one stepped in and basically said, and he gets what you're talking about, even though you are not doing the words well. And I think that's part of, if you're running this game, that's part of what you have to be mindful of, is that this is about meditative kindness, but that also includes your players. Mm-hmm. Because if you are very, very anxious like myself, or prone to anxiety, you can get lost in those spirals that you've created in exactly the same way that you can in games with larger stakes, like Descent into Midnight. And it's not a question of the scale of the game. It's a question of what you're able to do to pull yourself out of that, and what the DM's able to do. And the game itself lends towards, okay, well, we can just stop this scene, pick up in another scene, and try again a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of it sounds really cathartic to me. I like bleed in games. I like to feel things and to be really involved and there, and it's part of that empathy need. But like I also like experiencing those things in those kinds of safe spaces. So like having those anxieties about a lantern instead of like the pile of papers that I have over on my desk that I really should be dealing with and haven't, and you know, which is also another like small thing. You know, like in the grand scheme of everything that's going on in the world, this pile of papers that I have on my desk probably isn't that big of a deal. Yeah. But to me, it is. And so like the idea that you can have a game where you're doing those kinds of things, but you know that it's going to turn out okay.
And what's really
feels like really you can experience that anxiety, but also like know that it's going to be okay, feels really cathartic to me.
And that catharsis carries through out into life as well. I know that for me, when we played the few times we've played now, every time afterwards, it's like, I know it's just a game, but I feel so...
games change you.
Rewarded. It's almost like, it's almost like games change you. It's crazy, but you feel so whole almost in a way where you can go, I did that. I succeeded at something, and it was a nice thing to do for, you know, this imaginary person that I helped. And you're then able to go, you know what, I can put on a load of washing instead of collapsing on the bed. I can do something today. I can carry this forward because I accomplished something, and I can go accomplish the next thing. I know how to do that. And it can, certainly for me, it really gives you this sense of direction after the game, which is very different to a lot of other game bleed that I've come across.
Yeah.
It sounds like I accomplished something, even if it was a small thing. It felt important. I helped other people. Other people helped me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which that last one is important too. Like as much as it's about kindness to other people, I think being kind to yourself is important too. And like learning in that space too, that you do have to lean on other people sometimes too. And that part of it is okay too. Aside from just helping other people, let people help you.
Very much so.
So let's put a pin in that, because when as we're creating some people, one of the things I want to ask you, like I'll create a character with us, of course, but to think about what would be the sort of small thing we would want to approach as a table.
Yeah, I think we've got a
play
section for that in our fanfic section.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. So I want to dive right in, but we've got a few concepts and terms to cover first.
Yeah.
So everybody that's listening can be on the same page as us, and so we know what the heck we're talking about. So
we always know what we're talking about.
We do. We read everything before we record.
Yeah. We have read so many role-playing games cover to cover.
Yep. Absolutely. Even the non-character creation stuff, because
even the games that haven't come out yet.
We're very dedicated.
Assigned reading completed.
Yep. So
terms and concepts.
The four attributes. I looked at these and I'm like, these are really interesting attributes, and I understand why they're here. Can we talk a little bit about them?
Sure. Morgan, do you want to take this? I'm happy to take this.
You go for your life. Okay.
So at character creation, in the quick start, these are already allocated to your characters broadly. But at character creation, you get 8 points to allocate across 4 attributes. Your Henge attribute is what powers your small magics. Your animal attribute is your physical prowess, and bearing in mind that not for combat per se. And then your adult is to do with your capacity to hide your feelings, because this is a big feelings game. You need to use your adult to hide feelings, interact with technology, and when you change shape to interact with humans, you're going to use your adult. I think of this as the Unikitty holding the business meeting going, business, 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 business. When you have changed into the human form to go and help that teen buy the right charm for their crush, and the shopkeeper looks at you, can you hold it together? And child is your capacity to express emotions, have fun, and feel joy, and in doing so, create that for others around you. So you'll have 8 points, and you'll put some, how much do you want to put in your magic, how much in your physical prowess, how much in your ability to kind of be human, and how much in your ability to lean into emotions and have fun. And when we get into the different animal forms, you'll see that they will nudge you towards which ones you should put in.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool. So, another note that I had when I actually did read most of this over, true forms.
Yeah. So you will be an animal, a henge, and in the quick start, there are 4 animal forms: cat, dog, bird, and fox. And then in the full rules, you also get the raccoon dog, which has I'm very bad at pronouncing the Japanese name for it, so we'll just call it a raccoon dog. The one from, I can't remember the name of it. They're called like tanuki, I think.
Okay.
It's like a Japanese animal. They're like you call them the raccoon dog. I've disappointed you, Morgan. I'm so sorry.
I think it's a type of, no, I'm probably wrong on this. Is that a type of panda?
Yeah, sort of.
It's the red panda.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they call it the raccoon dog.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, in the quick start, you have cat, dog, bird, and fox. And in the extended, in the core book, you also pick up the tanuki, the raccoon dog, and the rabbit.
Oh, nice.
And so we'll pick a true form, and we'll talk about what we look like. Are you an old cat, a young cat?
Mm-hmm. All right. And on the character sheets, I saw that there was listed friendship, wonder, and feelings. And I wasn't sure what those were all about.
Okay, so this is the bit where I ambush you with my PowerPoint presentation.
Ooh.
Let me just... because I want to get this right, and I don't want to stuff it up. Where's my share button? Share. Golden Sky Resource Economy.
Ooh. I think this is a character creation cast first.
No, we did one for Ironetta too, kind of.
Not a
screen share. No,
not to mention not a presentation that is this well put together.
Oh my gosh, it has infographics.
This is beautiful.
Oh, dear listeners, you don't even know.
We can put this in the show notes. These are all Creative Commons images.
Yeah, please.
Oh, sweet. You will know, dear listeners.
Yeah. And you will also know that I 100% helped put this together. I swear.
You did.
Yeah. I was instrumental in whatever this is that we're learning about for the first time.
Moral support is important. Moral support.
This is fantastic.
The basic flow of the game is we start with, at the start of a scene, you accumulate 2 resource pools, wonder and feelings. At the beginning of each scene, you get wonder and feelings, and those are powered by our connections to each other and our connections to the community. And we use wonder and feelings to power our henge magic and our skill checks respectively. When we do them, the core mechanic is, as my character is doing something, if you think that was beautiful or poetic or kind or good, you just allocate me a dream. You go, that was really cool. The thing you did for that child or adult was cool. I'm going to give you a dream. So, and then in between scenes, we spend those dreams to grow connections, which makes us more able to gain more wonder and more feelings and be more magical as the game goes on, as we deal with this small challenge. So, what might that look like? Connections might be how we know each other and how we feel about each other. But importantly, it's also how the NPCs feel about us. Our wonder is what we use to power our magic, and our feelings are what we use to enhance our animal, child, and adult. And
there are a number of different connection types that are listed in the full core rulebook that we can get into later if you would like. But they basically run the gamut from they like you or they're affectionate towards you, all the way up to love or rivalry or family. and that just changes how they interact with you and how many points you can put towards that relationship with them, what they're then willing and able to do for you and what you can do for them.
So the wonder and feelings, the best way to explain them is imagine they're the dice spots on the dice we're not using. So if you want to do a thing, the game master will say to you, so if you're using your magic, they all have a fixed cost and you just pay that cost and it works. And if you want to do something adult, I might say, or the game master, the narrator might say, that's going to need 6 points of adult. You just decide, do I want to pass at that or do I want to not pass at that? And if you do, you draw down on wonder and feelings as you require, and it just works. So that's if there's 4 people playing and they're being really good and leaning into this mechanically, you can be earning lots of dreams. You've got huge piles. You're not worried about, do I have enough magic to do this? You're just thinking the thing.
And so again, in the central core tenet of the game, kindness begets kindness begets kindness begets kindness.
It's like the opposite of an anxiety spiral.
Exactly.
It is exactly that. And the dreams create a mechanical want to pay attention, to closely read what my fellows at the table are doing. Because I want you to pay attention to me and give me dreams when I'm doing good things, and I'm going to do the same to you. And between scenes, we'll fill up connection boxes and decide whether the flavor of our connection with each other is still the same. And you can have arcs there. So you may have decided that one of the other Henge is a rival of yours, and that by the end of the game you might have decided, I actually respect them. I'm not a rival anymore. We now feel respectful of one another. And then if you played again, that might move from respect to like.
Very cool. I like that.
And so that's the resource flow. I'm hoping that gave us enough audio that makes sense to a listener. But, dear listener, you can check the PowerPoint slides afterwards.
They are beautiful.
They really are.
They're very well done.
Probably the most aesthetically pleasing PowerPoint slides I have ever witnessed. So
I would agree, honestly.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of PowerPoints. I watched a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation today, and it was not that nice.
Did it have those 2 hands shaking from clip art in it?
It did not have any clip art in it.
What?
It was like all words.
The
There were so many words.
Garbage.
You need to at least have a light bulb in there or something. Some terrible...
I know. Yeah, like a stick man pointing to a chart or something.
Completely.
Classic.
how do we know it's a PowerPoint presentation if there's not a stick man pointing to a chart that is representative of our presentation?
It's like it didn't even happen. It's like I wasted those 2 hours.
So that little resource flow, a less pretty version is what I give to people at cons. But I wanted to make it pretty for you guys because this is important to me.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. It was important to us too.
I feel like
It did help me understand it though. No,
yeah,
for real.
absolutely.
It made it a lot more it made it make a lot more sense.
And especially
And I
because they are in this, you're gamifying a lot of concepts that you don't normally come across in terms of very rarely would you take dreams or connections or feelings and friendships and turn them into resources in other games in quite the same way as this. And I find it very fascinating and fun the way that they've taken all these concepts and said, okay, in a game where we're not running around and punching and stabbing and setting fire to villages, how do we help and how does that look mechanically? And I think it's certainly a system I've not come across before, and I think it's great.
I love the way it sort of continually grows on itself. I think that the mechanics of this game, I'm always fascinated when mechanics like tell you what to do. And it's a thing that as I've started to do some game design, like I really like dabbling with and saying like, okay, I want to get people to feel this way. I want to get them to do this thing. How do I do that? And it feels like the mechanics of this one just sort of that continue that sort of, like I said, that like kindness spiral. And, I can see like, we don't look at kindness and compassion in that way. Like we don't make it a mechanical numerical property in real life, but I feel like learning to think about it in that way, I can see how you would take that with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the mechanic is one of abundance. One of my favorite con experiences with this was there was a lovely grognard gamer who was running the Dungeon Crawl Classics table 2 over from me. And then he came to play this with me. And we had a 19-year-old exchange student and like a early 20s software designer and this big burly grognard who decided to play a puppy because he thought, oh, this will be some silly cutesy game. And there was this moment where he realized, wait, so I can give as many dreams as I want and that's not going to break the game. And he went from being this standoffish guy to literally like panting and being the dog and cheering for this young woman who it was her first time playing a role-playing game. She'd just come to watch and decided she was from Japan and went, well, I'll play this game. And he was cheering for her. And every time you could see that she was taking a step into role-playing, he was like, that was great, and giving her another token and giving her another token, giving her another token. And
seriously.
And again,
because we're so used to games that are full of scarcity.
This is now the second podcast I've cried on. It's fine. It's fine. I'm very emotional.
And
I love stuff like that. I love when games change you, when they like make you think about life in a different way and behave a different way and like just see the world in a whole new light.
Yeah. So this one, you don't run out of kindness. The kinder we are to each other, and this is like huge shout out to Rich Howard, who's one of the best of us.
Oh yeah.
I want to play this game with him because
oh God.
This is a game that says kindness is literally our strength in this game.
Mm-hmm.
When we are kind to each other and we are kind to the people around us who need it, we literally become more ineffectively and only with small magical nudges powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a soft, gentle powerfulness that I can't wait to see the characters we want to create. Let's do that.
Rich Howard, if like, I know that you said that you can't break this game, but Rich Howard could.
Yeah.
Like he would find a way. He is like the most empathetic person. Hey, Rich, the most empathetic person I have ever met. And he would ruin this game.
He will just break it because just everyone would just be so broken. The game wouldn't be broken. There would just be such giving Rich Howard a kindness enhancing engine.
Oh my God.
Would be like a positive weapon of mass destruction.
it would be glorious.
It would, the world can't handle, like my human heart can't take that.
Yeah.
There's just not enough room in there in my cold, dead heart to.
He would give
like
you
Rich
enough
Howard.
room. Rich would give you enough room.
I know, that's the thing is like Rich would like take his own heart and give you part of it. Ryan, leave all this in, and then when Rich listens to our podcast, he can cry. It's his turn to cry.
Yeah.
And he does. And he's lovely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You are one of the best of us, Rich.
Let's make some people.
Let's make
tiny henge.
Yeah.
Let's make some people.
Well, tiny henge that can become people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're magic.
And Amelia, the fashion moment is coming. So, like, just.
Yay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, there is a
okay.
fashion element. And that's when we discovered that I do not have a sense of fashion and thought denim everything was great.
Because
I'm
you'll
here
be a
for this.
henge.
Where is the Pinterest board?
So once you've decided, so when you're thinking about your henge, kind of keep an eye forwards on the horizon of when I ask you, when you transform into a human, how does your henge aesthetic transform into being human? What vibe would you be rocking? So,
okay.
I love that in the outline it says, are there any specific roles you want to fill, like tank or healer? No, there are none of those. You're just going to be a small, mildly magical, caring, furry animal.
That's amazing.
Although now you say that, I kind of want a rabbit that's a tank.
A rabbit tank.
The Usagi Yojimbo of kindness.
8 points of animal, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, if we want to follow the character creation steps, I've got my little thing here. Let's see if I can share this with you.
Well, I mean,
this one's not pretty.
Do we close out and then open back up again? Is that?
No,
we'll just keep going.
cut it.
Yeah, we'll cut it where we cut it.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah. We just keep going. Until...
So I'm looking at page 6. Is that right?
It's about there.
I want that to go away. So
what do
can
we
you
got?
see this
Yes.
Word document?
I can see the Word document.
Yes. Oh, I love
so
it.
this is what I'm going to step you through. So first thing is I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine the camera kind of coming in over the ocean towards this tiny little village. And there's this, it's morning time. We're coming over a small fishing boat. We can see a river leading up to a mountain. And there's an old 2-car electric train. It's just got a front and a back. And it's sitting at this tiny station. This is the early morning train that takes people to the big city, which is probably just a very small city. And there's like a small police station, a small fire station, a post office, a 3-story school with some kids playing soccer. The Hitotsuna Tigers are playing kick to kick out in the background. There's the sound of village life. And all over the place, there's like animals here and there. And these are our small little magical henge. And some of them are foxes, some of them are raccoon dogs, the cat panda dog things. And then there's cats, dogs, rabbits, and birds. Now, the fox spirit is the one that is closest to the spirits. The tanuki is the best shape changer. The cat is sort of whimsical and very cat focused. If you've got a cat, you know that cats are cat focused. The dog is the one that is able to be the closest to humans and interact with them the most easily. The rabbit is the friend maker, and the bird is the most sort of strange and flitting and flighty. So the core character choice you're going to make is what is your animal form? Right. And if you have a look either at the quick start or at the core rules, it will tell you a little bit about each. So, everyone take a minute.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Well, there's 4 in the quick start and there are 4 of us.
Yeah.
It's true.
So we can do that.
That's math. That's just math.
Yeah. So if we go with the quick start, that means that our listeners can be so inspired that they can go straight from this to download the quick start and do this with 4 people they care about.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Ryan's going to be a cat.
Yeah, you know me. You're going to be a dog.
No, I was actually thinking a fox.
Oh, yes.
What were we taking bets on this or what?
No, I like, it's one of those things that I think about. If I was to play this with these people, what do I think they would be? What do I think they would choose? And I thought
very
Amelia would be an awesome kitsune, an awesome fox.
I feel like I would go for, I feel like I would go for bird.
See, I was thinking bird for you too as well.
Okay, well, I will take dog.
Okay.
Ryan, is that because you think I'm the furthest from humans?
Well, you are in Australia.
That's pretty far. You're not wrong. And there are very few of us down here and lots of space.
Uh-huh.
So if you look down at your character sheet, it will tell you a little bit about you. So for me as a dog, it says dogs are the best at getting along with humans more than any other kind of henge. They think like people. Dog henge can do all sorts of things. A dog's special abilities are for protecting people close to them. One of my special powers is about getting petted, which I love. And then each henge comes with some base powers. So my base powers include doggy, which costs me 0. I'm a dog. The kind people see everywhere. Even when I'm in animal form, I don't surprise people who see me, and they won't find my presence strange. I can stick close to people. When I like someone, I can help them calm down. That costs me 4. So if the person that we're interacting with is feeling a bit stressed, I can kind of go over to them and just be a good dog right next to them. And when I use that power, that character will receive feelings equal to the strength of my friendship. So I just help them feel a bit better. Petting costs 6, and being petted makes me happy. When someone's in the same scene as me and states outright that they pet me, I gain extra feelings because I know I'm a good dog. I know I'm a good dog. And then that helps me grow my connections and grow my abilities. Or substitution. When it looks like someone's in danger, I can be a brave dog and I can take their place.
This is amazing. I'm reading.
And we'll choose some other powers later, but
yeah,
I think I would be just some sort of scruff mutt, a little scruff mutt, maybe with like one ear that doesn't stand up properly.
Yeah, I'm reading my cat's powers, my base powers. I've got Kitty, which is much like your dog, doggy power, where I'm just an ordinary cat. But then I've got Fuzzy, so I can like rub against people and make them feel better. And peek into hearts, which is a very cat-like thing, where you can get an understanding of what someone's saying in their head. And then cat paths. I can enter or leave a scene when and where you want, regardless of whether it's already in progress. That's just amazing. I love these powers that they have here.
They are so fantastic. And I love how with cat paths as well, you could have been across the other side of the town and there's no real way that you should have been able to get there. But in much the same way that all libraries are connected in Terry Pratchett's world, and you can travel from unseen university's library to somewhere else using the power of the librarians, the cats can use the power of the cat pathways to just get from wherever they were to wherever they need to be as soon as they need to.
That's amazing. I love this. Okay.
And so for Bird, in the core book, they have Little Bird Wings, Windsong, Gift of Wings, Rumors, and Down Pillow. And the ones that came in the quick start were Little Bird, where I'm an ordinary bird that anyone would see all the time. And then with wings, I can fly, which is pretty awesome. And and I can use that to run away or search for things, and it helps me find stuff potentially. And it can last to the end of a scene. I also can use Windsong and call on the power of the wind to blow how I wish, which means if I needed to, for instance, blow a small lantern up into the air in a magical way, I could totally do that. Or make someone's newspaper fly towards someone else, and then they run into each other and fall in love. And then I also have Gift of Wings, so I can make it so another Henge or a human could fly if the story so required.
Nice.
Or if I just felt like it.
I feel like I'm the only one that doesn't have one that's just like, be a fox.
Well, because you're more spiritual, right?
Well, yeah.
I guess.
So foxes are already magical. They don't need to be a fox because they can be a magic fox.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't want to be a magic fox
Right?
if you can be a magic fox? Ryan wouldn't.
I would love to be a magic fox. Are you kidding me?
So I have Oracle, where you can give people dreams, but you do have to completely describe the dream to the narrator. And if they find it to be contradictory, inconsistent, not the kind of dream that person would have, it doesn't do anything.
Oh, wow.
Foxfire, which makes you have a ball of fire from the tip of your tail, but you can only use it at night. It says, let's see here. For the rest of the scene, you can use it to make people who see it flee in fear or draw closer out of curiosity.
So when
I have
you need
invisibility.
our people to find each other in the bamboo grove, you can do that.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I have invisibility, which makes me invisible. And then fairy rain, which I really like this one.
Yeah.
You can cause a light rain to fall in the immediate area. This rain will come down regardless of whether there are clouds, and it can come day or night. While in this rain, Henge can take human form at no cost. And they can use feelings for powers and wonder for checks.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's cute. It's just cute. Like a sunny rain.
Yeah.
I love when it, like in the summer, when you get that light rain, and I say, like, for sure you have the same weather as us. You have, like, the sunny light rain, but it's still bright outside. It's so good. And then you get rainbows.
It is my favorite power in the game, and I love that it's a peak power. It, like, costs you 12 wonder to make it happen. But to me, that's kind of like the South Korean telenovela, we're going to have our moment, so we may as well have it whilst it's raining. Because
Totally. Like, is it even a moment if it's not raining?
how do we even know it is?
Uh-huh.
But the fact that it also, it's not just about like providing this thematic element, it also gives you this change in powers and in the price of powers as well.
And this is where we talked about mechanics supporting the game. Like, none of these on their face say, make the human do a thing. there's no taking control of anyone else. There's just, I can help someone feel better. You can too, Ryan. So if someone's feeling really nervous, we can help them feel good in that moment. Mm-hmm. If, we all know they should smooch right now, if only it rained. Like the powers are kind of whimsical and slightly off center. I find it very much like these powers feel like a haiku. They're definitely poetic, but their use isn't obvious at the outset, but it becomes really rich when you use them in game.
I like that.
Oh, I really like these. Thank you for joining us for part 1 of this character creation series. We'll be back in part 2, picking up right where we left off.
Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter at CreationCast or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can be found in the show notes. If you'd like to leave us a rating or review, we have links to various review platforms out there, including Apple Podcasts, in our show notes. Also, check the show notes for links to our other projects. Thanks for joining us, and remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We will see you next time.
Now we gotta read some show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Character Creation Cast is hosted by the One Shot Podcast Network. If you enjoyed our show, visit oneshotpodcast.com, where you'll find other great shows like A Woman with Hollow Eyes.
A Woman with Hollow Eyes is a podcast adaptation of One Shot's live-streamed dramatic Invisible Sun actual play. Discover a world of magic, secrets, and supernatural civic disputes in our unique take on Satyrine. In the first season, James D'Amato, Kat Cool, and SNL writer Alan Linick are led on a mind-bending adventure by GM Darcy Ross. Even if you already saw the streams, you want to listen to this podcast for the incredible soundtrack, composed and edited by Will Levendahl. Get it by searching for A Woman with Hollow Eyes or Darcy Ross on iTunes, Google Play, or your favorite podcast app.